Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Backstage Bimbo TV. My name is Allison Rouse, your most notorious groupie, and author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie, me. That's right, folks. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me in this new year, for making us grow a little bit bigger. Thank you so much for all the love and support I'm getting and all the private messages. I appreciate you guys so much. So much. So, this week on our midweek Rocky Talkie, we're going kind of away from rock and roll altogether because I kind of got a binge watched a really awesome show on HBO, Sex and Love Around the World with Christiana Amanpour. And it was really an amazing insight into so many different cultures and how shocking it was which cultures were the sexless cultures and the women were more repressed and whatever. And it kind of got me to thinking about how lucky we are to have a right to our own sexuality and a right to defend that sexuality in every way, shape, and form. And at the same time, how we so abuse that freedom. All right. And today, for our midweek Rocky Talkie cocktail, we're just going to do a little shot called the chocolate covered cherry. Because really, I've just wanted to try this one. So we're going to give this a go. All right, everybody. So pop your cherries, kick up your feet, and let's have a little Rocky Talkie sex style. Cheers, big ears. Oh, that's actually really good. Kind of surprised because I'm not real into the grenadine. I like the Baileys and the Kahlua, but not the others. Anyway, okay. So like I said, I just kind of binged watched this and was really amazed at how different cultures approach sex. And what really amazed me more was the Middle East is not as conservative as some Asian countries, which shocked the hell out of me. And I'm going to start off with a quote from this woman on the Beirut one, because they go to different countries like Germany, Japan, China, Beirut, all these different awesome places. And they talk to a lot of different women and men included, straight, gender fluid, however you are. They talk to all these people. And I support anybody and everybody as long as it's between two consenting adults and you're well educated and you're well respectful of each other. I have nothing to worry about that. So, okay, the quote from, and this is a woman who started her sex magazine for women, the only one in Beirut at the time, very controversial. Like I said, we take so many things for granted here in the United States and other Western countries. Now it says, what leads to sexual liberation is owning your body and having the choice of what to do with it. I agree 100%. Whatever you are choosing as an adult, as consenting, as educated, as respectful, then that's your right to do with. And I've gotten a lot of flack over my life because of being a groupie and being a stripper on top of it. Because my body, you're out there and you're using your body. And, well, as a stripper, let me explain this. You're not selling sex at all. You're selling attention, affection, butterflies, that feeling that we all lose every day in our normal lives, whether you're single or married, because we get busy and we have kids or whatever. So my body, the nudity, was just to get the guy's attention. That was it. It wasn't used as a tool of compromise or anything like that. I was never not gentrified, objectified or belittled by the rockers or by the guys at my strip club or the people I worked with at my strip club. Very strict, cameras everywhere, couldn't do anything. But, so, like I said, it got me thinking, because I have always enjoyed a very happy sexual freedom and liberty. And chosen my body and my sex life and done what I want without thought of consequences of society, of opinion. And, what kind of shocked me about the documentary is that Japan and China are the most sexless countries. And I've been to Japan as a dancer. And I've seen the men, and when I was in Guam, they even came over to Guam, and like I said, it really actually shocked me, because people marry to have kids, to be a family, to honor their families or whatever. And once they have kids, as many as they can have or want to have, they shut down. They just become parents. Which I know, as parents in any country, everybody can identify with. There's nothing more than being a parent. You lose each other as husband and wife. You lose your individuality. And in Western societies, we have choices and freedom to do about that. But still, like Japan and China, they are very, very conscious about the domino effect of their reputations. So most people will stay in these sexless and loveless marriages. But what I found interesting is a lot of the women take on their own lovers, just like the men do in the more Japanese, Chinese societies. I was really actually kind of shocked, but at the same time, they're very, very quiet about it. They don't talk about it. There's no open rapport or communication. There was more open rapport about sex in Middle Eastern countries like Beirut among Muslim women than there was among the Japanese, which I know some Muslim countries like Saudi, Pakistan, like that, they are not liberal countries. So of course, women are still property in some of these countries, and their sexuality is the property of their father, their brother, their husband, whoever the male dominant in their family is. And that seemed to be kind of a big thing all over the world, that sex and the enjoyment of it and the explicitness of it, it was all meant for men. It's okay if you're a man. And women were so shy to talk about it, except for a lot of women in Beirut. Berlin, of course, was one of the countries, and Berlin is known as the kink capital of the world. Everybody's open. There's yoga classes where you practice kink and stuff. And Germany is known for that. So Germany's always been more liberal and stuff. There's always been a lot more. But even Germany has only recently become kind of still the female dominant. You're not being judged for your sexuality or your sex actions between two consenting adults. Even that country was still coming along for women. Porn for women is not a big thing. Women in the Middle East don't talk about sex. And then here I come, and all these books about rock stars, or, the Playboy Mansion, or Heidi Fleiss, big time call girls, stuff like that. We have such an amazing freedom here in this country and in westernized countries to own our sexuality, to protect our sexuality, to protect our bodies, to own our bodies and do with it what we choose. And I love that freedom. And, it kind of got me thinking, with all these women who are so repressed, and they all band together under these secret societies and having coffee together and expressing for the first time and really discovering this together. But here in the United States, it's what polarizes most women. And I know of all people, because in most of the time it's the egos that take control of it, and there's no solid basis for accusations. Like I said, I had an ex when I first released my book who was cheating with 23 side whores, just a normal guy, not musician. Every one of those side whores who were being cheating fucktards went on my Amazon book page and left crap reviews calling me used up, piece of this is what I get because I never cared about the wives, because I owned my sexuality. And if they had actually done their research and intelligently responded, rather than out of their egos and hatred and jealousy and whatever else it was, and fun and games that made themselves feel better about themselves, then they would have seen I'm not this bad woman that they thought I was. But that's not the point. The point is that we are so spoiled and our sense of freedom for our sexuality. And thank God we're even coming along, because we've had to come along for a long time. I mean, women were still objectified and still are other genders, fluid, whoever you choose to be, inwardly or outwardly, we are experiencing the biggest freedom in our history in this country. So why do we abuse it by spreading the hate so much? It takes such a huge strength in the Middle East or in the Japanese countries, or even like a lot of countries, Poland, which is a really Catholic country, despite the fact that it's known for its strippers that are hookers and Vegas style, bachelor parties, not Vegas style, but sinister style, and low end mail order brides and stuff. But still, all these women that are so suppressed support each other. They respect each other's sexualities. They understand each other and what it took to get to this point, and they're rebelling right now and creating a whole new society, like we did in suffragette, to fight for the right to vote, and the women in the 70s and 60s really are the ones who fought for the right for our bodies and our sexuality. And in the 80s, we just motherfucking owned it, like it just had always been that way, and we just popped it out there. And this is kind of what I was part of, just us women supporting each other, being cool. So when other women are degrading women for their sexuality or their prowess or what they choose to do with their bodies, step back and enjoy the fact that we have the freedom to do this and support and love other women. It may not be your choice or your lifestyle, but man, have we come through a lot to get here in the United States alone, in Western countries alone, to be able to own our sexuality, be able to do these YouTube videos that I do, to talk about my crazy sex life and my stupid antics with rockers. Even 10, 20 years ago, this would have been, and I know because 20 years ago, because I was a stripper, I was being called a hooker, prostitute, murderer, and druggie. So I've been pigeonholed, and I don't understand, because I don't personally pigeonhole anybody for what they choose to do with their body and who they choose to be. Because I have been to other countries. I know that in the Middle East, if you are gay or if you are transgender, you could be killed. If you are an adulteress, and that doesn't mean that you were cheating when you were married, but adulteress in the Middle East is a woman who has sex outside of her marriage or before marriage. So you can be killed for this. In Japan, you can be stripped of your dignity and your family as well, even though they're even coming forward. In Beirut, women have taken these amazing steps. And considering all facts that Beirut is more liberal than most Muslim countries, like women don't have to wear the hijab or the abaya or stuff like that. It's a choice up to their family. But even they have had to fight for their right to own their bodies and their orgasms and their futures as women. And still in this country, like I said, I love these women who empower the other women and who stand behind these women, and not the ones who go on Amazon and tear people down just to make their empty abysses of the egos feel better. That's not cool. I mean, like I've been saying, in 2022, how about in this country, we do unto others as we would have done to ourselves? You will see so much less self-righteousness and hatred, because it causes us, before we think of our actions of hate towards other people, for whatever reason, do unto others as we would have done to ourselves, will make you stop and think, how would I handle this situation if that was me? On the other side of the counter, on the other side of this camera, in the bed with so-and-so or whatever, or choosing to be called they or she or he, or non-binary, excuse me. And it's amazing how freedoms become spoils of ego for a lot of people. And like I said, as a stripper and groupie, I've always been pigeonholed. Oh, she must not have known her daddy. She has 3 kids by 2 different people. She didn't finish high school. She didn't do this. And that was not at all the stripper that I was. And, it's kind of the same in Japan and the same in other countries. But when it comes to men, they're not objectified sexually. They're considered kings when, like Hugh Hefner was considered a god of sexuality. When in reality, he was a predator and the worst objectifier of women as objects and his employees than any other man I've known, because I've worked with Larry Flint. I worked with Bob Guccione. I've worked with a lot of strip club owners, and never have I ever seen a man so praised for being the king of objectifying women as Hugh Hefner. Like I said, I choose to put my body in those magazines, but I choose for my right price, my right purpose, because it was my living. I chose to use my body for my job, and we are so, like I said, I've been saying it, how lucky we are to have that freedom. So let's support each other. Let's support other women in other countries. Let's all band together and just help each other be okay in our own beings, because it is hard enough to choose your actions, choose who you are, inside or outside. It is so hard enough to do that on your own, inside yourself, and even deciding, like, there's women who I know as groupies that don't talk about it because they are so embarrassed, because they were so pigeonholed and objectified because they were groupies or strippers or so and so and so. Like, there's a couple strippers that are second grade teachers right now. You guys don't even know that I worked with. And one of them was just found out that she was a stripper, and the most beloved teacher of her grade in that school got fired because of society's opinions. And it just kills me, because it tears down everything that women fought before us, that we're just turning on each other. And that men are still objectifying women to a certain role in society, which, like I said, it's our right to choose. I love to cook. I'm kind of a homebody. I love, being the homemaker, but I also love being the entrepreneur. I have a good balance, but that's my choice. And if you stay home with the kids, that's a hard job. Single mom, married moms, in partnerships, it's a hard job. That's your choice, and I respect that. If you choose not to give a blowjob, that's fine. But don't knock me for doing it, and don't knock me for, being bold with my sexuality and being a man-eater, because, hell, men have been man-eaters throughout all of history. And the women that were man-eaters have always been crucified. And this goes in every country, but it was so amazing, because I spent time in the Middle East and in Japan to see all these women, and proud, and doing these magazines, and doing like underground porn for women in Japan and stuff like this, that their liberation is so forward. 20 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years behind where we are. God, we are so lucky, like I said. So, before you start to judge someone for their sexuality, for their prowess, for their choice to be who they are, think about what our ancestors, our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, our great-great-great-great-grandmothers, we were all property. And in some countries still are. Property. That's it. We had no right then only men, white men, had this right. White women, black women, Asian women, we were still all property and repressed. And it was so horrific, some of the things that people before us went through. And it was liberating, and it was great. And even Gloria Steinem, as disgusted as she was by the subjectification or whatever when she worked at the Playboy Mansion, said it also taught her how to own her sexuality and how powerful women's sexuality could be. And still be very sexual, womanly, and not have to put on Birkenstocks. And that's your choice, whatever you want to put on, whatever you feel comfortable and sexy, and that's cool. Just don't expect that to be your best friend's sexuality, your sisters, your mothers, people you don't know on Facebook. Be proud that someone is standing up and owning something that helps empower other women to own their sexuality. So, like I said, just do unto others as you would do to yourself. And really watch this documentary. It's called Sex and Love Around the World. It's on HBO. It's pretty amazing because, like I said, I was really shocked that Japan was the most sexless. The Middle East, of course, there's a lot of sex going on in the Middle East, whether it's with their wives, mistresses, girlfriends, whatever. Even in Muslim countries where they are so repressed, men and women still find a way to connect in and out of marriages. Women are still finding ways to own their sexuality. And I love to watch it because I love to watch humanity and people bloom for all the right reasons and into something more beautiful than we were before. Because that's what we should be doing on this earth. Making things more beautiful than, and learning from the mistakes of generations before. So, like I said, before you go to put someone down for their sexuality, stop and think, would you like that done to you? And what in the history of this world have women gone through to get to where we are now today, to be this comfortable, and are still struggling in other countries to be this comfortable? And instead of squashing because it satisfies your empty abyss of an ego and throws shade at someone for what you're doing wrong, not what they're doing wrong, but what you're doing wrong, step back, support, and just love other women, because we all had so much to go through. Our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, and so on went through so much, so we could have the freedom of choice with not only our lives but our bodies as well. So next time you're feeling a little bit shy with someone, or, just remember, a lot of women don't have this mental and emotional freedom in other countries. They don't have the physical or legal freedom in other countries. So don't be afraid, because we are so lucky to be able to support our own sexuality and be supported. And we're coming along so well these days. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because, and there's also one thing about sex I've learned. If you cannot communicate with your man in bed, you cannot communicate with him anywhere else. So get comfortable between the sheets, because this is where you are at your most vulnerable, at your most human, your most raw. It's okay. It's okay to experiment or step outside the box or take on a few lovers and juggle a couple of them, consenting adults, and being okay with being honest and communicative. Don't be afraid, everybody. Enjoy the amazing freedom that we are so spoiled with in our society, to be able to own your sexuality, because a lot of people around the world can't. They can't even talk about it. Like, they can die because of talking about it. So, like I said, go watch this documentary. It was really amazing, and it really made me feel how empowered and lucky I was to start at a very young age and have such a clear mind, because I do, and I did have a clear mind of what I was doing, what I was not doing, and no bullshit, no false advertisements, nothing. Honestly, honesty and communication are key in anything. So be honest with yourself and communicate to your partners, to your own selves, to your body, and be comfortable in yourself and your own sexuality, guys. You need to do this, because what did we fight for? What did our ancestors fight for all those years? Hell, what were vibrators made for? Back in the Victorian age, it was to settle stressful women from heresy and craziness. And today I think it still is, because we know how good orgasm feels, and aren't we goddamn lucky for it? All right, guys. Thanks for hearing my little rant, because, I think this is a subject that I really need to approach because of what my subject matter is on this channel. And I'm always moved by women breaking boundaries, and to watch other women break the boundaries that we have been so spoiled with and we take for granted here. It just made me step back and think that I was really lucky to be able to live the life that I did and work as a stripper like I chose to do, and be in control of my body and my life and of my job and of what I will and will not do, and having the legal right to say no, because again, a lot of countries don't. So I just think it's important that we all love ourselves, love our bodies, love our sexuality, own it, communicate it, and live it properly, respectfully. It's all right. Go out, party. Hang upside down from your husbands, your girlfriends, your partners, neck, and get wild, scream and yell, leave the windows open. Who gives a fuck about what the neighbors think? They're going to be thinking, damn, I wish I was having that much fun. All right. And again, thank you everybody for all the fun we're having over here. I appreciate you guys so much. So awesome to meet and get to know people and to talk to people. And I am here to talk to a lot of people. There's people that don't have many people to talk to in this world. I will do my best to be there for you as much as I can, because we all need someone to give us a shoulder to cry on and to release. So keep it coming, guys. Thank you everybody for sharing, for telling everybody about me. I really appreciate it. It's helping me come along. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers just so I can get monetized by the end of February. Hell, I think we could do it by the end of January. Just, let's do this together. Let's all band together no matter what and get the rock and roll out there, because rock and roll is where it's at. All right, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit my bells. And don't forget, I do have my merch line. The link is always down in the description. This is one of mine, the large shirt. They're funny. You'll have to go over to Threadless and check them out. All right, guys, hit the subscribe, hit the bells. We'll see you next week for some more cocktails and rocktails and rocky talkies. Cheers, big ears.